Good morning, everybody. My name is Ian Heathcock from Inoapps. As a leading technology and applications partner, Inoapps jointly hosts a variety of these webinars with our colleagues from Oracle. Today's session is entitled Cloud Computing and Virtualization. Your presenter today is Wayne Lewis from Oracle. Just before I hand over to Wayne, a couple of points of housekeeping. Today's session will be recorded and will be available for viewing via Inoapps' website, a link to which will be sent out to you over the next 5 to 7 days. Please feel free to share this link with your colleagues. Telephone lines for this conference are muted. Should you have any questions during this session, if you would please submit them using the questions panel on your sidebar, I will then put these points to Wayne at the end of the session in a Q&A. Should there be any that we can't fit in during the allotted time, we will then get back to you via email with answers to these questions. So, without further ado, I will hand over to your presenter today for Cloud Computing and Virtualization, Wayne Lewis. Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you, Ian. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. The presentation, as we've said, is about virtualization and cloud computing with regard to Oracle and other technologies in the industry. Before I start, this is a safe harbor statement. The words, the details and data that I'm about to talk about may not represent real products, etc., etc. Please review this at your leisure. So the agenda I have for everyone this morning is I'm going to talk about virtualization so that we have a clear understanding of that. What is cloud computing? I'm going to review some examples, and as Ian said, we have some time for questions. The objective of this webcast is to give you a clear understanding of our definitions of virtualization and cloud computing and where our current and future technical solutions fit within the context of those definitions and other vendor offerings. So we'll start off by exploring virtualization technologies. So just to get a ground rule of really a clear understanding of what virtualization is. Virtualization is to create in software something that looks like a piece of hardware. You can look at a complex definition such as creating a software program that exactly replicates the functions and abilities of a hardware component so exactly that the program itself can run software code written to run on that hardware component. Or if you're of a more simple bent, then you can choose to think of it as virtualizing the bits you can kick of a computer so that it looks the same, works the same, but you can't actually kick it anymore. What I want to do is just to review some of the common virtualization types. There's actually, virtualization is a relatively recent buzzword in the IT industry, but in actual fact it is a concept that existed almost since the day the IT industry and the computer industry started. And virtualization, there's some brands that are associated with virtualization by many people, such as VMware and Zen, but these are actually specific components inside specific areas of all the virtualization concepts. So the most ubiquitous virtualization area that we're looking at in the main is server virtualization, and I'm going to come on to that in more detail in a moment. But essentially, server virtualization was the start of it all. It started in the 60s with IBM's VM, mainframe operating system, and it continues to be existing on mainframes today as Z Linux. And then we have the traditional mid-range type of environments where hardware support is built into the processors and the equipment themselves. And we see things here like Solaris containers, zones, LDOMs, LPARs, HPARs from IBM and HP and various different forms of proprietary separates within a large-scale SNMP system so that they appear to be smaller components. And then the more common type that we see today is the commodity type, which is the x86 type of environment. Actually, there's a typo that's supposed to be, say, 64, not 84, of which Oracle VM, Xen, and VMware are very common brands within that environment. But we also have things like desktop virtualization, and this is actually different from server virtualization. Desktop virtualization comes in two flavors, if you like. You get the typical flavor where you've got a Mac, say, running Mac OS X, you want to run Windows on that, and you may have bought something like Parallels or VirtualBox in order to do that. It may be that you have a PC such as something saying running Windows 7, and you want to run an XP version on that, and then there's a product called Virtual PC built into Windows 7 to allow you to do that. And then we have something that's called VDI, which actually stands for Virtual Desktop Infrastructure, but in actual fact represents quite a complex collection of components that actually allow you to replace modern desktops with much smaller, thinner clients, potentially dedicated devices that can be very, very small, potentially even built into the display, and the interconnect between those devices and large physical machines in your data center running virtualized operating systems with the applications in them. And examples of this are Oracle VDI, which is actually a bit cheeky because that was only announced a couple of days ago on the Sun Oracle announcement, but it's basically based on the Sun technology. And Citrix Desktop Virtualization is quite a commonly recognized brand in that environment as well. And then we see storage virtualization, and this is sometimes not as well recognized by people, but storage virtualization has been going for some time as well, and actually encompasses things even as NetApp filers. NetApp filers actually present storage. It's always the same storage they represent, it's the same hardware they represent, but they actually present it to different devices as different things on the fly by virtualizing those concepts, so they can become a CIFS filer or an NFS filer or a SAN filer, and they actually do that all through clever virtualization inside their own products. And other examples of this are things like Exadata. Exadata from Oracle is actually contains a very significant portion of storage virtualization, and also things like left-hand networks as well. And then clearly we have, again, like we have VDI, we have a SAN virtualization, which is more than just the storage array. It's the full storage area network, and it's being virtualized to present one type of device to the servers, or to allow you to carve up big devices into smaller ones, and so on and so forth. And this is done in software, again, and the examples of this are things like DataCore and IBM SVC, and there's others as well. And then, of course, network virtualization. This has been something that's been done for quite a period of time. And VLAN, by their definition of VLAN, virtual LAN, this is an example of network virtualization over and above the simple virtualization that's taken place with subnets and domains and so on and so forth. So that's just to give you an idea that there's a large area of virtualization types in the marketplace, not just one. But I wanted to quickly highlight the different types of server virtualization. This is just